Here's a mixed type of graphing of a trigonomic function. In this case, we're going to be changing the amplitude as well as a translation done to it. So here we'll start off with the amplitude, and I'm going to be a little bit more precise than before. The amplitude is equal to the absolute value of the coefficient in front of the sine. So in this case, we're going to consider the amplitude 2. It's going to go too high and too low. Now the inside here, this translation, is going to affect moving the whole graph left or the whole graph to the right. So we're going to kind of do it the same way as before. We're going to make the assumption that x plus pi over 4 is going to have to do a range of values from 0 all the way up to 2 pi. And what we find after we solve both of these is that we're just shifting the graph to the left pi over 4. Here we'll get x is equal to negative pi over 4. So the start of the graph, instead of starting at 0, will be starting at negative pi over 4. So it's been shifted to the left. And this one is going to be, depending on how you want to write it, but I usually put the translation first. Negative pi over 4 plus the 2 pi. Alright, so this graph is going to start pi over 4 to the left, and it's going to finish pi over 4 short of the regular 2 over pi. Alright, so now we can set up a little table. And we'll have 0, the 4 cuts basically. 1, 2, 3 more lines. That gives us 5 values, but it's going to be the 4 equal cuts. Regularly pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. So I'm going to put those in. Those are the normal ones, and the period of this thing is really 2 pi still. So we'll have 0, pi over 2, 3, I'm sorry, brain's not working today, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. And from each of these, we're going to subtract pi over 4. So off to the side, I'm just going to remind myself that I'm subtracting pi over 4 from each of them. So 0 minus pi over 4 is going to give us negative pi over 4. Pi over 2 minus pi over 4 is the same thing as 2 pi over 4 minus pi over 4, better known as pi over 4. Pi can be written as 4 pi over 4, so this will be subtract one of them away, and you're left with 3 pi over 4. This one would be 6 pi over 4 minus pi over 4, which would be 5 pi over 4. And then finally 2 pi would be 8 pi over 4 minus 1, which would be 7 pi over 4. And there is a pattern here. This would be 1, 3, 5, 7. The next one would be 9 pi over 4, and so forth and so on. Okay, now let's take all our information and put it into a graph. So here we know that the amplitude is 2, so it's going to go up to this top line up here, too high, and it's going to, minimum is going to be down here at too low. Everything else is going to happen in the middle of this graph. We also have to indicate our 4 equal cuts, so one of them is going to happen at negative pi over 4, which will be between the 3 and the 6. The other one will be pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, which will happen between the 3 and the 6, 5 pi over 4, which will happen between the 3 and the 6, and then finally 7 pi over 4, which will happen between the 3 and the 6. Now we can check this. The distance between each one of these dashes is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each one of the dashes is pi over 12, so this whole distance here is 6 pi over 12, that are known as pi over 2. And the distance between each one of these cuts is pi over 2. Now normally a sine will start in the middle and go up, but because of the negative it's going to start in the middle and go down. So when I start plotting my points, the first point is going to be here in the middle, and then at the next one it's going to go down, and it's going to go down 2 units. The whole graph is getting flipped over the x-axis. At the next marking we're going to be back to the middle. At the next one we're going to be up 2 because the amplitude is 2. And then finally we're going to come back to the middle at the last marking. So our one period of the sine graph is going to look something like that. And then if we want to get the next few markings, the distance between these is 6, so all I have to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the next mark should be going down, so the graph would continue down this way, and eventually start heading back up. And this one I'm not 1, 2, 3, we're only going to get like halfway up on the other side. And here's the graph with the computer generated overlay. It looks a lot nicer than mine. And this would be the graph of -2 sine x plus pi over 4. It's been shifted to the left pi over 4, and it's been flipped upside down.